Okay, Mheshimiwa uko live So
Thank you.
yes, we wanted to hear about President Uhuru latest remarks on rotational president. What is your say on that?
Yeah, actually, I think it is the sad moment to Kenyans after I would call it probably a slip of tongue because I do not know Uhuru as a person to give out such a statement when he said that Kikuyus and the Kalenjins are not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to run for the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most unfortunate thing, and I think the president maybe we got him wrong. Probably he meant something different from what the Kenyans understood it, or
Mm-hmm.
and even myself. But I think better to that we got it wrong because him having been elected after his father and after Kibaki,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the beneficiary of people not going tribal during the time of elections in this country. And so he's not the one actually to come up with such statements because remember in 2011
Mm-hmm.
or rather 2012 when Kibaki too never wanted to see Kikuyu contest for that position of the president. I think I was among the front runners who really dismissed Kibaki, and we championed for seeing Uhuru become the president of this nation, despite that the outgoing president by then was came from the Kikuyu community. So to me, I think Uhuru one needs to apologize to Kenyans for giving Kenyans that kind of a mood whereby they would even try to imagine that they would go tribal before even thinking of the merit of an individual. One, I was shocked because, as you know, I'm preparing myself to run for the presidency seat in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And by virtue of fact that I come from Kikuyu community, then it means he's telling me I'm being disqualified automatically for his words. I think Kenyans have been really looking for quality of leadership rather than tribe. And I should also ask the leader of minority, Raila Moro Odinga, because he he also started congratulating Uhuru for going that route. That is messing this country. This country has about an estimate of about 44 tribes, if I may put it. And you are telling us that Kalenjins and Kikuyus will not have a chance of contesting until the 42 tribes contest gets the seat. That's when the two tribes will come again to start looking for one of them looking for that seat. And moreover, we don't contest like Kikuyus. We never contest like Luos. I think we do, whomever goes for that seat as a Kenyan with those qualities and with merit to become the president of this nation. So I think that was very unfortunate.
But then many people are saying that the president was countering the Asra nation versus dynasty remarks.
Yeah, but also I think the work of the president as a symbol of unity is he needs to cool those temperatures down rather than add more fuel in the inside that fire, because the dynasty and the hustler narratives, that to me is total nonsense. I don't think we should go that route. And it is very unfortunate because if the president starts talking about the tribe, and also his deputy is talking about the hustler and the dynasty, I think they are both misleading this country. And that is why you see some of us have come out very openly to let the country know what is happening, to condemn those utterances, because I don't think Kenyans are ready to reason that way. Why you get civil wars in any country is when its people start reasoning towards tribal line as far as elections are concerned. And that means it means that every tribe would like to see their own come into power. And remember, as I said, we have about 43, 44 tribes. Then what will happen? If we go that way, then it means people might end up bringing a civil war in the country when we have never tried to go that route unless 2007, when it was declared 41 against 1. And remember, the people contesting, and especially Raila and Ruto, they were together in 2007. It is very dangerous because we saw how they could react. And if this goes that route, then it means we are trending in a very dangerous line.
Okay, and on Irongo Kangata, he has written a
Yeah,
letter to President Uhuru.
I think that is being brought into proportion. I think there was nothing wrong with Kangata writing a letter to the president, and the matter he raised is of national concern. I mean, the Kenyans had the right actually to know what the communication between Kanata and the president. I don't think there was anything mischief about it, and I don't think there was anything wrong with that. I mean, what Kanata said was just to let the president that I, as I head the no team in the country, as the coordinator, he was just telling the president that we have done our work. I mean, people are not ready to vote yes for BBI. And the president should really appreciate that he can see the result of what is coming from the effort we're putting in making sure that Kenyans do not support the BBI. I personally, I sent a signal to the president and also the Right Honorable Raila Moro Odinga, the two guys whom I really respect. Remember, Uhuru is my age mate. Raila is much older than me, so he's my big brother. And I told them they are ready, they be ready to face the consequences, because the moment they said there was no changes which were to be done when we requested for that, I told them to be prepared. That's all. It is just like those companies which really releases the report before the final day. So he should be happy. I mean, he should do one or two things: either stop the BBI at this stage, or let his MCAs or the county assemblies drop it down, rather than wait until the day of voting, whereby definitely yes will go down.
Okay, and what is wrong with the BBI?
One, I'll tell you this, and that's a very good question. The bloated parliament, whereby, of course, the mood of Kenyans, they don't seem to be ready to elect women in at the National Assembly. So, and because of that, too, that gender rule, definitely we are going to have to increase the number with 1/3, so that we can attain that number of actually to meet the constitutional requirement. And so when we go to the figures, we are likely to have 640 members of parliament who will be paid by Wanjiku. We only have 290. And it would be very unfortunate to ask Wanjiku, the way economy is, to go back to her pocket and produce more taxes. Remember, then we have the 20%, which is going to be added to county governments. The question is, are they able to get 15% on time? Are they able to utilize the 15% as required? You just saw the other time when the Nyandarua governor returned some money to the treasury. Then why should we add 20% at this stage when we have the pandemic, which is the coronavirus pandemic, which is really finishing our people? We have the strikes from the doctors, nurses. They need money. I think that is a problem at hand which we really need to deal with. We don't have to wait until the strike is on. If we have money to implement the BBI proposals, then it means we can be able to solve the issue at hand, whereby the strike from the medical practitioners is taking place. It is very unfortunate. Again, remember, we have the prime minister position, which actually was meant from the word go. The prime minister position was supposed to be elective, not appointive, as it is right now. You know, when we went for that last meeting in Meru, the last recommendation from those forums of the counties was that we were to elect directly the prime minister after Kenyans creates that position of the prime minister and the two deputies. And that means just because Raila and Ruto have assumed that they have already been elected in the office, two of them, and remember they cannot never be two presidents at the same time. Because Ruto had three officers, committee members in the steering committee. Raila had 7. Those were 10. Uhuru had only 4. And because he's too busy, and sometimes he seems like he doesn't care what happens, the 7 of Ruto the 7 of Raila and 3 of Ruto joined hands because they suspected that seat would go to Mount Kenya people. And it is like to them, they wanted to block Mount Kenya people completely from accessing to that seat of prime minister. That is why, in the first place, because they had an idea that probably either the president or someone from Mount Kenya would go for that seat. And it was obvious, if you go to the mathematics, nobody from a different community from the Mount Kenya communities would contest for the president without picking or without getting involved to someone from Mount Kenya as the prime minister, that he would win. So they really diluted the meaning of that position. They said that the prime minister would be appointed 7 days after the president have been already sworn in, and also his deputies. That was very wrong. And to me, what I'm saying, and I want to give this indication to Anjiko, if you let this BBI go through, we have already done the mathematics. The maize flour, 2 kilograms, will cost 312 shillings. That is very expensive. It's too high. It even goes beyond the rate, the approved rate by IMF of taxing people. The cost of sugar will go at 348. That is very expensive at the same time. Then fuel will go at 342 shillings per liter. In order, because you know, they have to tax the essential commodities because this is intended to have the money on monthly basis to pay those wages, whereby the wages will be too high. Recurrent will be too high than development. I don't think even Kenya will have any development if this BBI goes through. And I want to ask the president, that is not forgetting also the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga is the one who is actually championing for this. It's a matter of life and death. And that is why when they dropped the idea of having elected prime minister, that is when Ruto stopped championing for a no campaign. BBI. That is why he started now saying that he has to respect the president, just because that part was diluted, because they never want to see, both of them never want to see someone from Mount Kenya actually come anywhere nearer the leadership, which is coming in 2022. And that is why both of them are so happy about that one, because before that came about, or before they diluted that position, remember, Ruto could not sleep. He was holding meetings right, left, complaining about the prime minister position. He never talks about it anymore, simply because he is confident that the Mount Kenya people will never see a seat in a near future like that one.
Okay, but then many are saying that the BBI failure in Mount Kenya is because of Ruto narrative that he has been selling to the Mount Kenya people.
No. I think, Mount Kenya people are very intelligent, and McHugh, as the people who heads in Kenyan GDP, I think they are too nervous when it comes to expenditure, because when the rates are overrated, I think they are not comfortable at all. I'm one of them. I'm a typical Kikuyu, and I'll tell you, one, we never see an eye to eye with Ruto personally, because we just disagree on so many things since 2007. Secondly, I'm heading no right now, because I believe if Kenyans walks into that direction, then I think Kenyans will suffer a lot. And remember, as we speak today, I think many Kenyans are not able to have 2 meals in a day. They're only able to have one. I wonder what will happen if the BBI goes through, because it will be bad news. And I would request the members of the county assembly, if it happens that the IEBC is able to garner 1 million votes, signatures, to give it an okay, they should try as much as they can not to let that BBI see its day. I think that's what I would request, and the electorate. I would say the electorate should keep an eye. Any MCA who gives an okay for the BBI just wants to finish them, and that is why they were bribed when there was created a fund that would really be used by the MCAs. I think it is the right time we face the reality. Kenyans cannot afford to implement the BBI with those recommendations to amend the Constitution of 2010.
And the president told off Irongo Kangata, and he said that he is in charge of the country, and I think that was aimed to show him that he is going to sell BBI to Mount Kenya people. What do you think?
I think Mount Kenya people are not interested. I think he should be told by someone, Uhuru should be told by someone that Mount Kenya people are very mad at him, because he's giving the people of Mount Kenya an idea that would really make them very, very poor. And for that, I think there was no need for President to being mad to Irongo Kangata, because for one, he should remember that himself, Uhuru, Raila Amolo Odinga, I am Ruto, and some other politicians, we brought it down the referendum of of Kibaki in 2005. And if we brought that referendum down, then what is so special that we cannot bring this one of himself and write it down? Because it doesn't help Kenyans in any way.
Ruto replied last Sunday to Uhuru. What do you say about that?
What?
The reply of Ruto to Uhuru on Sunday.
What did he say?
He was saying that he didn't elect Uhuru because he was because of the tribe, but because he believed in him.
Of course, one thing I think the deputy president needs to understand is that we should avoid being hypocrisy. One, if Uhuru never came from Kikuyu community, I think Ruto would not have having any need to have him as his president, because he knew he would have known that he would not get enough votes. But because he knew Kikuyus had enough votes, that's why he joined Uhuru. I think the tribe aspect was there when actually he chose to go with Uhuru as his running mate.
And do you think Kikuyus will vote for anyone else instead of Ruto?
Definitely, yeah. Believe me that.
The 10 years for Uhuru, 10 years for Ruto.
You know, that is, to me, that doesn't hold any water, because there was no meeting which was held by Kikuyus or Mount Kenya people. And again, even when Uhuru said that, he never talked about Kikuyus or Mount Kenya people. He was referring to Kenyans electing, giving Ruto a chance. And he talked that when he was in Kalenjin land. Remember that. He never uttered such words when he was in Mount Kenya. Remember, if there was any endorsement of such, it meant Mount Kenya people to have a meeting, come up with a resolution. Then they would have appointed Uhuru to go and present that resolution to a Karenjin community or to Ruto or even to the country. But he never did it. So those were political statements which were just meant to please people who are present in that meeting, in order for them to vote for the two guys, Uhuru and Ruto. But that was not discussed anywhere between Kikuyus and Kalenjins, because this country is not meant for two tribes. I'll repeat that. It is not meant for the two tribes, and it is neither not meant for Luos or Luyas or Turkana or whomever. It is meant for Kenyans. And that is why when I'm preparing myself to go for the presidency in 2022, I'm doing it as a Kenyan, not as a Kikuyu. It's only that my name is Njoroge and I'm a typical Kikuyu. Yes, but that doesn't mean that I'm looking votes only from Kikuyus. I'm looking votes from all over. We have about 20 million electorate who will be going to vote in 2022. Then if I'm looking only for votes from Kikuyu land, whereby probably we'll be having about 6 to 7 million, if possible, then the rest, where will I get those votes? So I mean, that is very cheap, and to me, I don't think it holds any water. Anyway, we should ask Ruto to look for votes without any string attached to what Uhuru said, because he will lose big time if he goes that route.
Okay, and many think that Uhuru was endorsing either Musalia, Raila ticket come 2022.
No, I don't think he has gone that far, because right now what Uhuru is doing is only working on the BBI to go through. I'm also heading for the BBI to not to go through. Remember that.
Mhm.
No, Uhuru is in yes. But remember, the person who is really pushing this too hard for the BBI to go yes, it is Raila Amolo Odinga. Why? Simply because he believes that if it goes yes, he's going to win the presidency. And he's going to kick out the Mount Kenya people not to see a day as the prime minister. That is what he thought. Also, someone who is elected as a member of parliament from one of the constituencies. In this case, where we were working on not having a scenario where we have the winner takes it all, they really diluted the whole thing, because now, if the winner, if the president comes from the majority of where the party, from the party he belongs, has the majority, because that is what is being presumed, then it means the prime minister definitely will come from his party. Raila might decide to have James Orengo as the prime minister, while Ruto, if he becomes the president again, he might decide to take Kipchumba Murkomen as the prime minister. But you see, let me tell you, they should remember that in 1978 we have the history. This is how it started when we Kikuyus worked on Moi becoming the president. The same Moi targeted Kikuyus. He finished Kikuyus. That is why you see there is a lot of poverty within Mount Kenya region. Just because the Moi believed that in order for him to rule the Mount Kenya people well, first he was to make them poor. And remember, the person who made Moi get that seat on a silver plate was Charles Mugane Jonjo. But he's the first person he kicked out of the government. He never wanted to see him anywhere near the system. And from that time to now, we have never heard Charles Mugane Njoroge talk on anything to do with politics, because he was warned by Moi not to ever utter a word of politics in this country. And I think I'll tell the same who are championing to make sure that Ruto becomes the president. I tell you, think twice. It is not as easy as you'd expect after this guy becomes the president. And let me be so frank with you. If you bring Ruto here, you bring Raila here, you bring Mudavadi here, I see Mudavadi being more sober. Why? Because he has no grudge with anyone. If you see Ruto, he still have grudges with Kikuyus, because he says Kikuyus are the ones who took him to ICC. Remember that. And because he had an agenda whereby he wanted to kick Kikuyus out of Rift Valley, he will still accomplish his mission once he becomes the president. And again, remember, he has a grudge with the people who recorded statements, who really made him be at the ICC. I don't know what will happen, because we already have one person at the ICC known as Geshero. Remember, Geshero is locked at the ICC using the file of Ruto. I do not even understand what how ICC do things, because how could they lock Geshero, yet the beneficiary of what Geshero was doing is still loitering around the country, right, left. I think he's a person who should be together with Geshero at the ICC. To be fair, I mean, I don't think Geshero is a human being. He's a Kenyan, and moreover, he's a Kikuyu. Don't forget that. Ruto should be at the ICC trying to work out, making sure that Geshero is a free man, like how the last time when he was supposed to go to the ICC, Uhuru tried to work up and down to make sure that he never went back to the ICC, but he has forgotten. Don't forget that. Now, when it comes to Raila is a good man. I've been with him. He's a friend of mine. He's a good person. It's only that probably his people should also realize that Raila is not becoming the president for them. He's becoming the president for the entire country. So the least person I'd like to see become the president of this nation is Ruto. Probably, if what they made them change the idea of having elected prime minister is to go by, I think I also feel uncomfortable. I would feel uncomfortable if Raila becomes the president. I think Musari Mudavadi would do better if I do not become the president, because remember, I'm contesting for that position, despite being a Kikuyu. I don't care what Uhuru feels. I don't care whether he wants Kikuyus to run for that. I'll go for it.
What if Raila and Ruto join camps and go as one team?
Too bad for our people, because remember, 2007, that is how the position was. And remember, they're the same people who had declared war against the Mount Kenya people and against specifically more Kikuyus. I remember that's when the narrative of Maduadoa was came up with Ruto himself and his team. We can see some placards or some statements of recent when they were communicating via WhatsApp, something which has to be confirmed. They have started repeating the same of that Maduadoa thing, and I think Mount Kenya people needs to think twice. We have to think twice, or else we are going to be in a lot of problem.
But many of the supporters or leaders who are following Ruto and have they seem to have already endorsed Ruto are from Kikuyus.
Let me tell you something. You know, I think Ruto himself and his tribesmen, I think they do not understand Kikuyu very well. Let me tell you, Kikuyus makes a decision the most last days to election. What, why they are really, it is becoming interesting when they hear the name Ruto is simply because of the money he has been giving out. The donations of the wheelbarrows and the mikokoteni has been giving out. And you know, this time in memory, you know, we have a problem. Economically, we are facing a lot of problem. And Mount Kenya, as I told you, Moi left Mount Kenya in a bad state of economy. I'll tell you that. The 24 years which Moi was in power was to finish the Mount Kenya completely, economically. And he managed it. That is why you can see when they see Ruto in Mount Kenya, they sometimes even think of linking his shoes. Yeah, just because they want money from him. That is why you see, even during this period of Corona, they wouldn't care when Ruto would tell them not to put on masks. Yeah, they wouldn't care dying of Corona. Provided he's giving them money, those wheelbarrows, those mikokoteni, and those other things like saloonists normally use, simply because he's trying to make fools out of Mount Kenya people. And I would like to tell Mount Kenya people, they should look at me when I'm telling them this. When the deal is too good, think twice. Moreover, they should understand no Kenyan has the capacity of having a genuine money in his pocket to give such a donations. They should remember that Ruto is associated by stealing so much from the Kenyan government in order to fund that kind of activities in Mount Kenya. And I know when Ruto was actually stealing, he was targeting the Mount Kenya. He has almost won, but remember something. I don't think he'll be able to go out with this up to 2022. It is very difficult. And especially Kikuyus, they are the difficult people to deal with when it comes now to the real issue of picking the right person to lead them as the president.
Okay, when we were starting, you said that Uhuru should apologize to Kenyans. Now, he used the tribal card, and then Ruto has been using this hustler versus dynasty narrative. Should both of them apologize or just Uhuru?
No, you know when Ruto is talking about dynasty and hustler, one, you know, he's just trying to play around with the minds of poor Kenyans. And you know, the real meaning of hustler means prostitute. If you go to Google, if you go to dictionary, the real meaning of hustler is a prostitute. It's someone who can do anything, all means to get money in dubious ways. And why Ruto came up with that narrative of hustler, it is because in his heart he's not happy when he's giving this money to Mount Kenya people. These are the people he's insulting, calling them hustler and con men or con women. He's not happy at all. There's no politician who can be happy giving out his resources, whether you have stolen or you have got it in the right manner. Because what happens is that Ruto is never takes people of Mount Kenya seriously. And look at him when he's smiling. Lucky enough, he has those milk teeth, colored teeth. That is what helps him. Mount Kenya people should think twice. Ruto calls you hustler simply because he takes you like prostitutes, like conmen. Go back to the Google and see what hustler means. Hustler is not a poor person. Hustler could be a very rich person, but it depends how you became rich. Two, when I say Uhuru should apologize, I know because I know Uhuru very well. He never meant to hurt Kikuyus, neither Kalenjins. In fact, he was only referring to Ruto and his team, trying to tell them that if that would be the position, and that idea of another tribe coming in, then he would not be there. That is what he meant, what I believe he meant. But because Kenyans got him wrong, if I may put it, it is the right time for him to apologize to Kenyans and also clarify what he really meant by saying the two tribes have really been there for too long. It's not two tribes. When it comes to Mount Kenya, or rather to Kikuyu, it is the same family because Kenyatta, the first Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, our dad, is a father to my friend Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So we would also go down and say, then that home we should not get a president from that home in the near future, but not Kikuyus. My family has never produced a president. Remember that. So I think that meaning, and remember when he said that, he never endorsed it. He said, suppose he says that, but he never said that that is the position, because I think, as I know him, remember he knew very well that his father was the first president in the Republic of Kenya, and he knew he was a Kikuyu after Kibaki, and he went for that. I am one of the people who are sent by Kibaki. In fact, I was sent by Kibaki to go and talk to Uhuru and ask him to step down from Davadi. But I told Kibaki over my dead body. Yeah, because I never believed in that. Simply because he was telling him to step down, because also Kibaki never believed that another Kikuyu was supposed to become the president. I don't know what is happening once we have someone in that position, then they come up with that funny idea. That is why maybe it has taken Uhuru too long to build one person from Mount Kenya as it is supposed to be. Thank you.
Okay, and Moses Kuria seemed to be calling Uhuru for a fight, because he said that bring all those your Serelak boys, that's include Musalia Mudavadi, Raila, Kalonzo, and et al., and then they will beat them all come 2022.
Well, let me say this. Bear with me, because sometimes I don't like commenting so much on this cheap, petty politics coming from some politicians. I don't think I need to answer that, to comment anything on Moses Kuria. I think I'm above that.
Okay, and then you have seen that Moi misruled Kenya for over 24 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
were in parliament, you were nominated by KANU.
When I was?
In Senate, you were nominated by KANU.
No, get me right. I was not nominated by KANU. I was nominated by TNA. Remember, it is Uhuru who nominated me, not KANU.
Oh.
I just went to KANU during
You have been supporting Gideon Moi.
No, when I went to KANU is when Nick Salat in 2017, when he jumped ship, and he wanted KANU to join NASA. So I went to join KANU in order to have the number at the neck, because Moi himself, Mzee, proposed that once I joined KANU, he promised me that I would be included at the neck of KANU. so that we would, I would help Gideon Moi to have the number to endorse Uhuru as the candidate of KANU in 2017 election. That is why I defected from Jubilee, because when we were forming the Jubilee, the current Jubilee, I was in the steering committee. Remember that? I was number 13 in the steering committee when we were bringing the parties together. I mean, when we were holding all the parties to join the Jubilee, I was in that steering committee. But then I sensed danger when Nick Salat and KANU, apart from Gideon Moi, in that neck, they were actually brewing to go to NASA. And actually, they have made those steps. But when I joined, because Gideon was lacking one vote to endorse Uhuru, as the KANU candidate, then that is how why KANU arrived, when KANU arrived in supporting Uhuru. And I contested, don't forget that, I contested as a governor in Nakuru County on a KANU ticket, the last election. Why?
Yes.
I just left. I never wanted to go that route of being nominated again as a senator when things were not working well to Uhuru. So I went there, contested in Nakuru County. I did well. It's only my votes were not enough to be declared as the governor. And remember, also Ruto was working up and down to make sure that people like us would never see that position at all. But anyway, altogether, I thank the Nakuru people because they really tried to vote for me. Again, I also thank the Moi family for giving me that opportunity. But then again, remember when the handshake came, you need to remember that after Uhuru had a handshake with Raila, I had also to join Raila team so that I could encourage Raila and Uhuru to move on with that handshake. But too bad, because the way it is ending up, they really, I just feel shortchanged because they never followed what Wanjiko wanted in the BBI.
Okay, when it comes to Msambweni elections, Kenyans are saying that Ruto seems to be unstoppable, and the same energy used in Msambweni may be used to get Nairobi governorship in case of any by-elections. What do you say?
Let me tell you something. In the first time I've seen Raila make a grave mistake in Msambweni, because when he went there, he pronounced himself to that if Msambweni ODM won, then it means the entire country, BBI, would win. Yes, would win. And remember, the mood of Kenyans, as I lead them, is that they do not want to hear anything with this BBI. When he said, he pronounced himself to that route, that is when actually the Msambweni people decided to bring down the ODM candidate. It is not that he was bad. It is only that Raila contradicted himself there. And that was a big mistake. What I'm telling you now for Nairobi gubernatorial race, it's a joke to hear somebody like Dennis Waweru would try to front himself as a candidate of Jubilee, thinking that he can win. He cannot win. Nobody will win in this country in the near future, as far as the by-elections are concerned, associated with the BBI in terms of yes, because Kenyans are too mad on that. They don't want to hear about BBI. Ask me, because I'm the one who is heading that, and I know Kenyans do not want to be associated at all na hii mambo ya BBI.
So does it mean Nairobi governorship will be gone?
That will be gone with someone else. A Kenyan, don't forget that. No, it's
Margaret Wanjiru.
She's also a Kenyan. Don't forget
Mm.
that. If you bring Margaret Wanjiro and Dennis Wawero, I would ask the Nairobi people who hears my voice very well, who listens to me, I would ask them to vote for Wanjiro.
Okay. What do you tell Kenyans now that you are supporting, you are against the BBI as we wind up?
Yeah, yeah. One, I'm asking Kenyans, to stay awake, be aggressive as we continue with this BBI thing. We have to vote for no when time comes, but also we have to reject the MCAs who will pass that in their assemblies once it comes for 2022. And remember that I'm in the race for 2022. Now, the time has come when we have to declare our interests. And I think, though my name is Njoroge, I'm a typical Kikuyu, you have to prepare to give me votes, despite Uhuru's call. Thank you.
You are going with which party?
I'll decide. Remember, we have independent people who goes under independent. But
Yes.
in the near future, after the BBI, then I'll see the way to go. I might decide even to go with Jubilee. I do not care because we might decide any party. You know what matters here is me as a person and my leadership.
Okay. Your final remarks?
I think one, I wish Kenyans happy New Year. And as I've said, they need to stay awake. Let them not be confused. Watu wakileta pesa, kura pesa. Hiyo msiache pesa irudi. Pesa, you know, money is a legal tender. Have it in your pocket. Then, lakini wakati wa uamuzi ni lazima tuamue kulingana vile kunatakana. But then again, I should also caution leaders. Let us not use insults as we campaign, because I don't think we are setting in a good example to the young ones whom we have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you.